Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. Hello, Glastonbury Fawn and everybody else out there in Storyland. So, we're ready for the third part of the story. Just to remind you, there is this snow elf called Blizz, Blizzard the snow elf. He accidentally hatched an ice dragon, which, as everybody know, ice dragons, they love eating elves. Blizz and Princess Icicle had led the snow elf army out of the gates, gone to look for the dragon, and the dragon, well, it's found them. And they weren't quite ready for it, but it's attacked anyway, and, well, let's read part 3 and find out what happens, shall we? Are you sitting comfy? Then I'll begin. There, on the hill, stood the ice dragon. But what a dragon! It was over 70 feet long, and as it opened its wings, each one was wider than a house. It let out an almighty cry, so loud and evil that it could freeze your very heart. And then it flew down the hill towards them. The elven army, taken by surprise and without their captains to command them, all reacted in different ways. Many, those eager for glory, grabbed their bows and arrows and charged towards the dragons, screaming their battle cries. Hurrah! Fools! Princess called forth. They haven't even lit their arrows. Others, those with more sense, stayed by the fires and dipped their arrows in cod liver oil before lighting them and running to the bears, ready to fire at the incoming dragon, and some, amazed by the sight and sound of the oncoming dragon, just stood there in shock and fear. Blizz stood still, rooted to the spot but with fear as he watched the chaos unfold. As the dragon neared the charging elves, the unlit arrows streamed forth, ba-ding, 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 only to bounce harmlessly off of the dragon's body. Then it let out another almighty roar, turning its head left to right as it did, using its breath to freeze elves to the very spot. Then, as it passed the frozen elves, its long tail swished about, shattering them like falling icicles, so it did. As it approached the circle of polar bears, those within the camp let off a flurry of burning arrows, ba-ding, 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 all except for the princess. She just stood still, bow raised, waiting. Bum, bum, bum. As the burning arrows filled the air, the dragon gave out another scream, freezing the arrows in mid-flight, extinguishing the fires in them. Any second now, thought Princess Ice as she drew back her bow. But suddenly, just as the dragon reached the circle of polar bears, it swerved sharply to the right. As it did so, its long tail came swishing round, hitting both elves and polar bears and knocking them flying high into the air. Again it turned, this time a long, slow turn, and then it dropped low and headed straight for the gap it had made in the circle of polar bears, so it did. It's not Blizz who's the fool, thought Princess Cool. It's me. I should have explained my plan to the captains whilst we were en route. That way we would have been ready. I should have known it was watching us and had guessed my plan. The dragon, was getting closer and faster as it flew straight for the hole in the defences, straight for Princess Cool. Bum, bum, bum! Time to fight or die, thought Princess. Fight, die, or both. She realised that the only thing that stood between her and the ice dragon was a fire, some barrels of cod liver oil, and Blizz. Why won't he move? She thought. I know my father told him to protect me, but standing unarmed between me and an ice dragon, why, that's pure madness. A great feeling of fear and woe for him filled her whole body. Of all the elves she'd ever met, dukes, princes and kings, he was the only one to ever make her truly laugh and feel like a normal elf instead of a princess. And now he stood between her and certain death. Blizz! She screamed. Move! Blizz was not being brave. He was just too scared to move. But the sound of her voice spurred him into action. The princess, he thought. If he headed straight for my princess, I gotta save her. He turned to run to her, to do whatever he could to save her. But as he turned to run, so he ran straight into the very barrels she'd just asked him to move. Blizz hit them so hard that he bounced off of them and landed on his back, stunned in a flurry of snow, so he did, oh yes, yes, yes. The two top barrels rocked back and forth a few times before falling off and landing in the fire. The princess, realising what was about to happen, threw herself to the ground, and just in time, because the barrels went bang! The barrels exploded into a ball of flame. The dragon, now nearly over Blizz, swerved sharply to try and avoid the ball of fire, but it was going too fast and was too close as it swerved, so one wing went into the fire, and as it came out, it was covered in dark red flames. As the dragon flew on, so it lost height, till it crashed into the snow, rolling over and over and over in an attempt to put out its burning wing. Blizz, thought the princess as she scrambled to her feet. The brave fool blew himself up just to save me. She ran around the fire and was more than a little relieved to find Blizz laying there, his face blackened by the smoke, the hairs on his feet singed, and smoke trailing up from his soot-covered ears. But otherwise, he was unharmed. Whew, that was close, wasn't it? I was worried for him there. Blizz, you saved my life. Thank you, said the princess. Quick, your majesty, he's getting away, said Blizz, pointing at the dragon. The princess looked in the direction he was pointing, and sure enough, there in the distance was the dragon, running towards the sea, flapping one wing as the other one now was just a little burnt, charred stump. What a brave elf, she thought as she looked back at Blizz. Risked his life to save me, and now, when I try to thank him, he changes the subject. How brave and how modest. Thank you, she said again. That was really brave of you. Well, I wouldn't be saying brave exactly, said Blizz. You see, when I realised it was headed to you, I turned round and poor Blizz, he really did want to explain that it was just an accident, that he'd forgotten that the barrels were there. But she was giving him that smile again, the one that made his nose and ears blush and his brain go all muddled and confuddled. Then suddenly the smile on the princess's face was gone, replaced instead by the look of a leader. If you're okay, then help me tend to those who are not. With this she hurried off to look after a soldier laying on the ground, crushed by a flying polar bear. It's not often you see polar bears fly, but they did, honest. Captains, she cried as she knelt by the soldier's side. Damage reports in 5 minutes. Blizz didn't argue. She had stopped smiling, and that meant his brain could think again, and he thought that she was right. There were a lot of injured elves lying on the ground, and he hurried off to help where he could. Well, the journey back home seemed to take a lot longer than the journey there. Over 200 brave elven warriors had rode out to battle. Barely half had returned, and many of them were injured. This time, no one sang battle songs or told tales of heroes. Instead, they rode in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Some thought of the friends they'd lost in the battle. Others thought of their injuries and wondered if they'd ever be able to knit another duvet again ever. And Blizz, well, he thought of the princess, how sad she looked, and how this was all his fault. As they approached the castle, Princess Cool called Captain Drift to her side. Snow, she said, addressing him by his first name, I need you to ride ahead to the castle and arrange medical treatment and food for the survivors. Off you go. Soon the disheartened warriors arrived at the castle. As they passed the walruses guarding the entrance and entered through its tall white gates, elves came forward. Some had food, others tended the injured or led off the polar bears. Mr. Ard, said the princess, sounding heavy with woe, you will wait in the castle until the council have finished their debate. No doubt they will wish to thank you for saving my life. But your majesty, he protested, determined at last to tell her the truth, the whole truth, and so take on the burden of guilt. But she interrupted him. Not now, my friend. Now I must think of what to say to the council. Blizz was shocked. She'd called him her friend. Not Mr. Blizzard, but her friend. That's it, he thought. When the council be calling me in and I be telling them the truth, I will. How it's my fault the egg hatched. How I wasn't being brave and quick thinking enough to save the princess. It was an accident and luck. That's all it was being. Just luck. I'm going to tell 'em. An elf came over to Blizz with some food and a hot cup of cocoa, but Blizz waved him away. No thanks you, he said. I'm not being hungry. I'd just be needing somewhere quiet to do some thinkings, that's all. Over there, said the other elf, behind those trees is the royal fishing pool. It's always quiet there. Thanks you, said Blizz. Oh, and if the princess or council be wanting me, could you be telling them I is over there thinking? The royal fishing pool was a very, very large hole in the ice where the king could fish for cod. It had fires round it to stop it from freezing over and was ringed by pine trees. Blizz walked up and down by his side, lost in his own thoughts. The princess had looked so sad as she entered the castle, ready to take the blame for the lost battle, and that was wrong. It wasn't her fault there was an elf-eating dragon eating elves. It was his. It's all being my fault, he mumbled as he paced up and down. I'm the one who hatched the nasty ice dragon. If it wasn't for me and my foolishness, this would never have happened. And now, instead of punishing me, the council are going to be thanking me. That's not right. And that's what I'll be telling them, I will. When I go into the council, I'm going to be telling them the truth. And I don't cares. I don't care if they shave my feet or even if they feed my nose to seagulls. I'm going to be telling them I wills. That way, they will blame me for what happened and not my princess. Suddenly, a fountain of water gushed up from the lake, a huge, long, straight jet of water that rose some 40 foot in the air before cascading back down. Blizz was so surprised that he jumped backwards, tripped over his own feet and, not for the first time, ended up laying in the snow in a flurry or cloud of snow. Then, slowly, a large, blue, barnacle-covered lump rose up from the water. As it rose, so an eye appeared. And Blizz realised it was a whale. A blue whale. But what a blue whale! Even for blue whales, this whale was big. So big that as he sat there, all Blizz could say was, wow! Its body and head was covered in scars, seaweed and barnacles, and it floated there, staring at him with its big, wise-looking eyes. Hello, said Blizz, unable to think of anything else to say. Is you being lost? Can I help you? This is the Snow Elf King's castle, said the whale. Yep, said Blizz, and that there be the fishing lake, the king's fishing lake that you be in. He won't be happy when he finds out that you scared all his cod away, he won't. Quite nifty it be, he will. Be that as it may, said the whale. My name is Tasheen. Maybe you'd heard of me, and I had need to talk to the council. Please tell them that Tasheen is here. Maybe's I'd heard of you, said Blizz. Maybe's I'd heard of you. Of course I'd heard of you. You're Tasheen, the oldest and widest being in the whole widest world ever. He who was here at the beginning and will be here at the end. The all-seer, he of the great depths, the holder of knowledge, the key of... Yes, yes, said Tasheen. I have many names and many titles, but now is not the time to relate them all. Hurry. Please tell the council that Tasheen the whale is here and has need to talk to them. The candle and light, the whale of wisdoms, the No! Boomed Tasheen in a loud voice. Blizz, startled by the sudden loud voice, quickly got to his feet and ran off towards the great hall, still reciting the various titles for Tasheen, because he had a lot, so he did. Oh, yes, 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 yes. In the great hall, Princess Cool had just given her account of the battle and offered to decline her right to become the next queen as punishment for losing the battle. King Cool had called for a break in the debate while the young bowl holders emptied the drip bowls into the drip trough, a long low bath-shaped trough that stood near the doors. Suddenly, the doors flew open and in rushed Blizz. He was going to tell the council about Tasheen, but unfortunately, he tripped over the trough and went flying. Bang! Landing with a whack at the feet of Princess Cool. As he lay there, he heard the princess muffle a giggle. "Why, Mr. Hard," she said, "I didn't know you were so eager to receive the council's thanks for saving my life." Blizz didn't look up. He knew her well enough by now to know that she was joking. And when she joked, she smiled. And when she smiled, his brain got all muddled and confuddled, and he mustn't because he's got a message to pass on, so he has. "Just be looking at her feet," he thought, "and I'll be able to think. Her large, hairy, beautiful feet." "Oh, Tasheen," he said, remembering why he'd come there. "What about him?" said King Cool. "Well, he's here, your Royal Majestiness. He's here in your Royal Fishing Lake, and he says I'm to be coming and get you. I told him, Your Majesty, I told him I did. I told him I did be saying that you won't be happy if he scares the cods away, but he says he don't be caring about no cods. Says I'm to not to call him by all his titles. Instead, I'm to come to the Great Hall and ask the council to see him, and there'd be a lot of him to be seeing, I tell you now. Big and blue he is, with big eyes and barnacles and bits all over him, and he's got..." Blizz stopped talking as the princess's hand gently touched his shoulder. "Are you coming with us, Blizz, or staying here talking to no one?" she asked in an amused voice. Blizz looked up and saw that the last of the council was already leaving the hall, hurrying on their way to the Royal Fishing Lake to see the great whale Tasheen. "It's a smile that does it," he thought. "I don't even need to be seeing it for her to muggle me mind." The council gathered by the lake, and Tasheen spoke. "King Cool, may your nose always drip and your feet never go bald." This was a traditional snow elf greeting, and King Cool replied with the traditional snow elf reply. "And may your duvets forever remain thick, Tasheen. Now, how may we help you?" "You help me?" replied Tasheen, laughing. "I am Tasheen, and as such I need no help." "Then why are you here? Are you going to help us?" asked King Cool. "Help, no. That is not my role. But I can advise you, should you have need." If this is about the ice dragon that's eating my subjects, then yes, please, advise us, O wise wow. Tasheen floated in the lake in silence for a few seconds, his big eyes gazing intently on the princess. Then he spoke. The ice dragon you now fight is called Widowmaker, son of the feared Elfie Eater. Your last battle with him has taught him to fear fire, so now he will live in the sea and come ashore every morning soon after sunrise by the cliffs of Maron, and from there he will hunt. Then tomorrow we will be there, arrows aflame to shoot him down, said King Cool bravely. But how can you shoot down that which no longer flies up, said Tasheen. Or have you forgotten how a snow elf clipped its wing with fire? Then, now we know where he comes ashore, we can attack from the cliffs and shoot it from there, said the king. From above, you will never kill him, said Tasheen. For now, he is stronger and larger than even his mother. No, there is only one way that you can kill him now. You must cover the beach by the lakes of Maron in wood and cod liver oil. When he comes ashore, you must make him eat a potion, a sleeping potion. Once asleep, you must set light to the wood and burn him there by the cliffs of Maron. This potion, said the king. How do we make it? Have you got the recipe? The potion is already made, said Tasheen, looking not at the king, but at his daughter, the Princess Ice Cool. It is female elf blood from an elf of royal birth. What? Said the king, outraged. It's okay, father, said Princess Cool. I'm happy to spill a few drops of blood for the clans. All through this meeting, it seemed to her that Tasheen had kept his eyes solely on her, and she knew his reply before she'd even spoken. Alas, princess, said Tasheen with a sad, grave voice. It will take more than a few drops for the magic that runs through you to work. We must use all of your blood. The dragon must devour you completely. I am sorry, princess, but there is no other way. No! Screamed the king, his hand reaching for the royal sword of his fathers. You come here to my royal lake, unasked, unwanted, demanding that I, a king, order my only daughter to be eaten alive by a dragon. The king would have said more. He may even have attacked Tasheen with the sword. But Tasheen answered the king. He answered him with one word said as loud as only something with lungs the size of a London bus could answer. Enough! The word was spoken so loudly that trees bent. The very castle shook, and the king and all those present fell to the ground with the force of the word. For a few seconds, silence prevailed. Then Tashin spoke again, this time in a softer, quieter, more calming voice. I have demanded nothing, said Tashin. I have merely advised you on how to get rid of Widowmaker, the ice dragon. Whether you take my advice or whether you don't is your choice, and yours alone, King Cool. But know this, should the dragon be left to grow, then it is not just the snow elves who will suffer, but all the clans of the elfin race. For such is the evil heart and the hunger of Widowmaker, that he will not stop until he has devoured every single living elf of every single clan. And I, for one, would hate to see such a great, wise and noble race like the elves wiped out, just like the goblins, the Farvet and other long-lost races. Thank you for your wise words, Tashin, said the princess as she stepped forward and put a comforting arm around her father's shoulder. We shall do as you asked. Saying nothing, Tashin started to sink slowly back under the water. As he got lower, so his gaze switched from the princess to Blizz. And it seemed to Blizz that, just before his eyes went under the water, that Tashin gave him a little